Welcome to another Tech Help video brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I'm your instructor, Richard Ross. Today's part 2 of my Sluggish form video, where you got that form that just it takes forever to load, and then even after it loads, it still performs very slowly, and you feel like you're walking through caramel. Go watch part 1 first, and then come on back. All right, so here's our database. We made a couple queries. We got this customer worth query, and this thing's got, let's pretend it's got millions of calculations in it. Right? This thing takes a while to load on its own, but then when the form it's based on loads, this thing runs really slow and sluggish. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by making a temporary table with the same fields as this guy, since it's got the same data. Then every time this form loads, we just have to update that temp table. All right, so let's start off by creating the temp table. Now we can do that with a simple make table query based on this guy. It'll get all the same data, the same fields and everything. All right, so we'll go to create, query design, bring in the customer worth queue, bring down all the fields, this little star there. Change this to a make table query. Let's call this customer worth temp T. It's gonna be a table. I like to put the word temp in there so that future me and other people know that this is a temp table. That means the data in here isn't, it can change at any minute by other queries or whatever. So it's not set in stone. Right? It's not an actual table full of actual data. Okay, hit OK. That should be all you need to do once you run this. Ready, go. There it is. Okay, there's all the same data that's in that query, but now it's in a table. And these are actual numbers now, not calculations. All right, see how immediately you can see how this is going to run much faster. Now, do you need to keep this query around? No. I'm going to save it just so the gold members have it. Customer worth temp make queue. All right, that's the make table query, which you should never have to run again unless you somehow delete this query. All right, now get rid of that. Now we're going to change the record source. You can close this guy now. All right, change the record source where this guy gets its data from the customer worth queue to the customer worth temp T. Save it, close it, and now when you open it, it immediately should open faster if this is your actual form that you're working with in your database. Me, I can't tell the difference because there's only a couple of records. But there it is. Now, the first thing you might want to do at this point is to simply let the user know that they can't make any changes in here. You can make these gray if you want to, or I like to just go into the data settings. We're going to set allow additions, deletions, and edits to no. I got separate videos on each of these things if you want to look them up on my website. Basically, you can't add records, you can't delete records, you can't change records. Because this is a temporary table, and you wouldn't want your user opening this up thinking they can make changes in here, right? Can't now. I'm typing, right? Can't delete stuff. Okay. So this is locked. This is set in stone. But that's okay, because most of the time when you got a form like this, all you really want to do is use it to see data. And if you want to drill down into like Malcolm Reynolds' orders, you double click on it and here you go. There's his orders, right? This is a summary form. Okay, now how do we go about updating this? What we're going to do is whenever this form opens, we're going to run a delete query to delete all the records from the temporary table. And then we're going to run an append query to take all the current data from the customer worth queue and put it in the temporary table. Now, that process can be slow. Okay? But it's not something that is going to hinder the form's performance once the form opens up. The problem is, if you put this code in the form itself, in the form's onOpen event even, okay? If this form has to deal with all that, then this form uses memory resources and it could run sluggish. Okay, so don't put the stuff to update the form in the form itself. We're going to put it in the button that opens the form. Make sense? Okay. Plus, if you put it in the form here, you're gonna run a delete query, so all these are gonna show delete, and then you're gonna do the append query, and it's gonna have to requery this. It's just a pain. Okay. So we're gonna put all that code in the customer list button before the other form is even opened. Okay. In fact, one of the last things we're gonna do is open up the form. Now, like I said before, you can do this with just some queries. You don't have to have any programming at all, but I like the program, so that's what we're doing. Okay. Build event for the button. We are in the customer list button click. This is going to be one of the last things we do is open that form. first thing we're going to do is we're going to set the hourglass to true. You know that spinny thing? It's called an hourglass, but it used to actually be an hourglass. Remember from like Windows 3? I had to use the Google machine. Remember the actual hourglass? It would sit there and flip, and then in later versions of Windows, it got a little more sophisticated, right? Now it's a spinning circle. But in VBA, it's still called the hourglass. So do command.hourglass true. That says turn the hourglass on. Now, the last thing you want to do in here, don't forget, is guess what? Do command.hourglass false. Otherwise, the hourglass will stay on. And yes, I've written code before where I've forgotten to turn it off. And your database will still work just fine, except your mouse pointer will be an hourglass spinning. Or the spinny circle or whatever. All right, and we're going to tell the user what we're doing. Status, that's my status function that I cover in my blank database template. I think I have a whole separate status video too. Status, processing data. Okay? And now here's where we put our SQL. Now, if you're not great with SQL, you can make these regular queries out here and then just open them. You can make a delete query and then an append query, and you can do a do command.open query in here to run them. I, on the other hand, like writing SQL. So current db.execute delete from customer worth temp t. That says delete all the stuff that's in that table. Goodbye. Right? You are the weakest link. All the data in your table is, so goodbye. Current db.execute. Someone's beaming in. Now we're going to run our append query, and in SQL, it's insert into. Where are we inserting into? Customer worth temp t. Where are the records we want to get? Well, they're in the customer worth queue. Now, if you want all of them, which we do, it's going to be select star from customer worth queue. That's it. That's an append query. It's just take all the records, select star, all the fields, from customer worth queue, and put them into the customer worth temp t. Okay? Status, opening form. Now, the status will still show on the main menu status box, right, over here. And there's a do events in here, which forces it to update the screen. But even though it's a temporary table, if you got lots and lots of records, even opening the form might take a moment if it's pulling it across the network. By the way, I do recommend keeping this, if you have a split database, keep your temporary table in your front end. That way, you now are working with a copy of that data locally. Don't put that in the split backend. And then everything you do now, from now on, with this form is going to be nice and fast because it's in your local database. Don't forget to compact your front end once in a while, too. Okay? Now we've got the do command open form customer list stuff. By the way, that's Control Y, deletes lines in your VBA editor. It technically cuts them, so they'll be in the clipboard too. Okay, and then if you want, you can do like a status done. Okay, and then your hourglass, and if you want like a beep here too, let the user know that it's ready. Okay, save it. Debug compile once in a while. That's my new favorite catchphrase. Okay, close it, save it, close it, open it up. And now, boom. See that? And just to prove that it's working, let's take Deanna Troy and give her a sale. So I'll go right from here. Deanna Troy. Let's go to orders. Let's put in here an order date of today for some stuff. And she's getting, I don't know, a back scratcher. Why? I don't know. I just picked something off the top of my head. Mark that paid. All right. Now, keep in mind, this will not update until you close it and reopen it. And now Deanna Troy shows some sales. See? Okay, that's it. And now that form, once it's open, should run much faster than it was before. It might still take a while, because it's got to process all that query stuff in the background one time. You could, even if you wanted to, and this is getting a little bit beyond what I was planning on talking about, but you could put a checkbox here to indicate whether or not you want to refresh the content, or even do it with a yes, no. Let's do it with a message box. So let's say in here, we're going to ask the user, do you want to update the information, right? So if message box, do you want to update the data? Okay, we'll do a VB yes, no, cancel. Or we'll just do a VB yes, no. Update, right? And if the response to this equals VB yes, then we're going to do, let's see here. We're going to do this right to there, right? We're going to turn the hourglass on. We're going to run that stuff. We're going to put our end if here. I'm going to say let's put the hourglass, because this is really what takes the longest amount of time. We'll put the hourglass stuff there. Okay? And if they say no, it'll just open the form with the data that was in there previously. Because if you're doing month-end reports, right, and this is all last month's data, you don't have to keep constantly updating this information unless you know that someone went in and put in some sales that they forgot to log or something. You know what I mean, right? But at least now you have the choice of whether or not you want to update this information. And yes, I got videos on MessageBox too if you want to go search my site for them all. Okay, debug compile once in a while, right? Okay, and now you want to update the data? Yes. Okay. Now, let's, just to test and make sure it's working, let's go back to Deanna Troy. Where are you? Let's delete that order. Delete. Okay, now I'm going to go in here and say, do not update the data. And it's still showing her order in there. Okay, so we know it's working. Let's update it now. Now that order's gone. So it's working. Of course it's working. I built it. Pshaw. I'm just kidding. No, I've built some databases with some doozies of bugs before, and yeah, I still find bugs and stuff I wrote 20 years ago. But fortunately, none of my clients have called me from years back when I was a consultant complaining about bugs in their databases. They usually show up within the first like 30 days or so of a client actually working with a database. Because if you're a consultant, that's kind of how it works. You build the database, you can test it all you want, but until the client actually starts working with it, right? First you tell them, okay, I want you to run your current system that you got now, whether it's paper or Excel or whatever. Do that in tandem with the Access database for at least a week, right? So you can watch them both and make sure everything's working great. You'll catch a bunch of bugs there. But until they start actually using it as their primary sole, this is now our database, that's when you find the really weird bugs. All right, if you like this stuff and you like learning with me, check out my developer lessons. I've got tons of them on my website. And if you want to learn SQL, check out my SQL seminars. I cover bits and pieces of SQL throughout my developer course and even earlier in the expert lessons. One of the things for me as a programmer, I started off programming in BASIC and then C. And I didn't learn SQL until years after I was a consultant already, right? I started doing Access databases a few years into being a consultant. And switching from, basic knowledge and basic and C programming to SQL was a big paradigm shift for me. So I strongly recommend for any would-be Access developers, learn SQL. It's really, really powerful. You can do with one line of SQL what it might take 15 lines of code to do. So it's really good. I got a 3-part seminar on it. The first 2 parts are the ones most people need, right? The basics of SQL and then the action queries, like we did today. Those are action queries. Delete query, update, insert, make table. Right? Part 3 is optional. That's more advanced stuff. That's all like working with the structure of tables. You can add fields, you can add indexes, all that kind of crazy stuff. So check this out if you're interested. But there you go. That's going to do it for today. A little 2-part series here. Hope your forms run faster. And if you have any questions, I want to hear from you. In fact, let me know if you use this technique and you speed up some forms that you were working with before that were running really slow and now they're working fast. I'll accept a thank you. And let me know. I want to hear from you. Tell me how much time I'm saving you with this technique. All right. That's going to do it. That's your TechHelp video for today. Hope you learned something. Live long and prosper, my friends. I'll see you next time. Bye. A special thank you and shout out to our diamond sponsors. First, we have Juan Soto with Access Experts Software Solutions, manufacturing experts specializing in Access and SQL Server. Juan is a 13-time Microsoft Access MVP. You can check them out at accessexperts.com. Another shout out to Samy Shama from Shama Consultancy. Samy is a certified Microsoft Office specialist, and he not only offers Access application development, but he also provides one-on-one tutoring services. So if you need someone to hold your hand and help you with your Access project, Samy is your guy. Check him out at shamaconsultancy.com. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and post any comments you may have below. I do try to read and answer all of them as soon as I can. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, which is completely free. Click the bell icon and select all to receive notifications when new videos are posted. Want to learn more? Click the Show More link below the video to find additional resources and links. YouTube does a pretty good job of hiding it. It's right down there. See this part of the description here, right? The name, the video's up here. There's a little Show More down there, right down the bottom. It's kind of hard to find. But once you click on that, you'll see a list of other videos, additional information related to the current topic, free lessons, and lots more. And YouTube no longer sends out email notifications when new videos are posted like they used to do. But if you'd like to get an email every time I post a new video, click on the link to join my mailing list. And you can pick how frequently to get emails from me, either as they happen, daily, weekly, or monthly. Now, if you'd like to become a paid member of my channel and receive all kinds of awesome perks, click on the Join button. You'll see a list of all the different membership levels that are available, each with its own special perks, including my extended cut videos, access to my code vault, lots of VBA source code in there, template downloads, and lots more. I'll talk more about these perks at the end of the video. Even if you don't want to commit to becoming a paid member and you'd like to help support my work, please feel free to click on the tip jar link. Your patronage is greatly appreciated and will help keep these free videos coming. I got some puppies to feed. But don't worry, no matter what, these free tech help videos are going to keep coming. As long as you keep watching them, I'll keep making more, and they'll always be free. Now, if you really want to learn Access and you haven't tried my free Access Level 1 course, check it out now. It covers all the basics of Microsoft Access, including building forms, queries, reports, and more. It's over 4 hours long. You can find it on my website or on my YouTube channel. I'll put a link down below you can click on. And did I mention it's completely free? The whole thing. Free. 4 hours. Go watch it. And okay, a lot of you have told me that you don't have time to sit through a 4-hour course. So I do now have a quicker Microsoft Access for Beginners video that covers all the basics faster in about 30 minutes. And no, I didn't just put the video on fast forward. But I'll put a link to this down below as well. Now, if you like level 1, level 2 is just $1. That's it, $1. And that's another whole 90-minute course. Level 2 is also free for paid members of any level, including supporters. So if you're a member, go watch level 2. It's free. Okay, want to get your question answered in a video just like this one? Visit my TechHelp page and send me your question there. Members get priority, of course. While I do try to read and respond to all of the comments posted below in the comments section, I only have time to go through them briefly a couple of times a month, and sometimes I get thousands of them. So send me your question here on the TechHelp page, and you'll have a better chance of getting it answered. And while you're on my website, be sure to stop by my Access forum. We've got lots of lively conversations about Microsoft Access and other topics. I have a fantastic group of moderators who help me answer questions. Shout out to Alex, Kevin, Scott, Adam, John, Dan, Juan, and everybody else who helps out on the site. I appreciate everything you do. I couldn't do it without you. Be sure to follow my blog, find me on Twitter, and of course on YouTube. Yeah, I'm on Facebook too, but I don't like Facebook. Don't get me started. Now, let's talk more about those member perks if you do decide to join as a paid member. There are different levels: Silver, Gold, Platinum, and Diamond. Silver members and up get access to all of my extended cut TechHelp videos, one free beginner class every month, and some other perks. Gold members get all the previous perks, plus access to download the sample databases that I build in my TechHelp videos, plus access to my code vault where I keep tons of different functions that I use, the code that I build in most of the videos. You'll also get higher priority if you do submit any TechHelp questions. Now, answers are never guaranteed, but you do go higher in the list for me to read them. And if I like your question, you got a good chance of it being answered. You'll also get one free expert level class each month after you've finished the beginner series. Platinum members get all the previous perks plus even higher priority for TechHelp questions. You get access to all of my full beginner level courses for every subject. And I cover lots of different subjects like Word, Excel, VBA, ASP, lots of different stuff, not just Access. These are the full-length courses found on my website. You get all the beginner ones. In addition, once you finish the expert classes, you get one free developer class per month. So lots of training. And finally, you can also become a Diamond sponsor. You'll have your name or your company name listed on a sponsors page that will be shown on each video as long as you're a sponsor. You'll get a shout out in the video and a link to your website or product in the text below the video and on my website. So that's it. Once again, my name is Richard Rost. Thank you for watching this video brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something today. Live long and prosper, my friends. I'll see you again soon.